I need to give a retraction. I was about to say print a retraction, but this is not a print medium. But I need to give a retraction. I did a video earlier today. It's still today. Yes, it's still 10:30. I did a video earlier today where I was pretty high on the hog, pretty strong on something that I ended up being completely and entirely wrong on. Apparently, Fox was right. Tulsi Gabbard. Too early. Fox was right. Tulsi Gabbard is apparently trying to solicit Wall Street donations. Let's talk about it on the soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. And yes, I have to be honest, this is probably one of the toughest retractions that I have done up to this point in doing my show. And I think it's because it's that intersection where optics and reality completely diverge. And you're aware that optics and reality are diverging, and yet, nevertheless, you're stuck with this position of having to report the story the way the story is. It is what it is. It would be insane of me, or at the very least, I would consider it wrong of me to not report the story. Ergo, I'm reporting the story the way the story is, as I understand it to be at this point. Earlier today, I came across this story by Fox and Friends. All of these guys hit Wall Street money, despite class war rhetoric. And they hit these guys pretty hard for this, including Tulsi Gabbard, who I made the point has been on their show multiple times and yet still hit them nonetheless. And I said this is nonsense. And the guy who put the story out was defending the story on Twitter saying, look, I have the pamphlet. I know exactly where she's going. I have the evidence, but he wasn't necessarily disclosing this evidence. So the closest thing that we found, or I found, was this. Tulsi 2020. There's a dinner that she's having Saturday, June 8th. All right. But you can sign up for this event on Twitter. I even went through the process of signing up for it on the page. Now, I've unlisted the video because the video at this point is wrong, but I've attached it so you can essentially see me in my wrongness if you want to see me in my wrongness. This is what I attributed what this was for. That attribution was wrong. That attribution was wrong. The attribution is to this. Breakfast with presidential candidate and Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, hosted by Farvara Partners. Please join Ahmed Malik, founder and CEO of Farvara Partners. And I looked up that. It's a short look. This guy. Decent suit, probably very expensive. Founder and CEO of Farvara Partners. Ahmed Malik is a founder and the CEO of Farvara Partners, a boutique merchant bank which invests partner capital into growth businesses and acts as a liquidity provider of private placement on behalf of companies and institutional investors. Prior to starting his own firm, Ahmed was the managing director and the global head of the hedge fund advisory business at Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Ahmed was also founder and head of the emerging manager program within the global equities business, in which capacity Ahmed was charged with selecting and establishing new hedge funds for the firm to partner with and oversaw allocation of financing, prime brokerage, capital strategy, business consulting, and talent introduction resources. Essentially banking, equity, etc., etc. I think we can count him as Wall Street. So when Fox News makes the point that Biden, Buttigieg, Gabbard hit Wall Street for money despite the class war rhetoric, the title is not entirely wrong, seeing as This is Breakfast with one presidential candidate, Tulsi Gabbard. And this guy, please join, founder of this particular company that he has owned in this very expensive suit, looking directly at the camera. It's somewhat true. It pains me to say that. You have no idea. It pains me like Captain Kirk. In my head, I see Captain Kirk in one of those scenes where he's being zapped. So he's like, that's how it feels to give the story. My reasoning is this. Apparently, Jordan sent a tweet or message to the Gabbard campaign, who he has, ties to. He did an interview with Gabbard, so he definitely has ties to her, and he asked her for a response. Her campaign asked him to wait until 5 p.m., which he did wait, to which he got no response, and have gotten no response up to this point. It seems that the story is true. So if anybody's out there saying that it is false, it seems that the story is true. Now, there's a secondary question on this of what does it mean? Is this an enlightened billionaire or millionaire or whatever he is? I don't know. I was reading the invite, which I have at the bottom of the video so you can see it for yourself. There's nothing dodgy about it. Friday, June 7th, 2019, that's tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Her platform, an outspoken critic of regime change wars and the new Cold War, Tulsi is running for president on the intent to take trillions of dollars spent on wars and invest in the healthcare, education, protecting our environment, and rebuilding our infrastructure. He probably could make a ton of money off of that. With a military background, Tulsi plans to bring soldier values to the White House. Hear from her directly as she speaks to what she's up to in the campaign trail. You know what's not on that? Wall Street reform. Wall Street reform. It's not on that at all. Yes, she's meeting Wall Street. She's trying to get money for her campaign. What does it mean? I don't know what this guy is. Is he an enlightened millionaire or billionaire? Who knows? Does it look bad? Yes, it does look bad. The entire time this campaign, especially from the standpoint of the left, has been running on this notion of reforming Wall Street, not necessarily accepting money. The moment that you accept money from these types, you are somehow beholden to these types. That has been the weapon that has been hit on larger campaigns like Joe Biden. And even Elizabeth Warren, who said, I'm not going to take this sort of money, has said she's only going to do it up until the point where she's out of the primary. Meaning, once I get out of this primary, I'm going to get out of these restraints and I'm going to go free and accept all the money that I can get from Wall Street types and everybody else. Anybody who wants to give me money, give it to me. I guess it's possible that Tulsi's campaign is in need of cash. And it's also possible, and not just possible, I think that's probably true. And it's also possible that in needing cash, she may make the argument that, look, as long as these people are not trying to influence my policies, and I am still able to do the policies that I want to do and I've always said I wanted to do, then I am not beholden to these types. But of course, from the standpoint of the left, that argument doesn't necessarily fly. And part of my in doing this video is because it's very possible that her policy priorities haven't changed one iota. But she needs to get in office. And she's stuck with this dilemma that all campaigns are stuck with functioning in our electoral system. You need cash to get elected. There's a reason our electoral system functions in the way that it functions. It's somewhat systemic. It's not because the individuals in the process are somewhat horrible, even though some may just be that, but it's a cash-based system. There's a reason why you get plutocrats that are continuously in the system, because you need to be plutocrats in order to even have the money to get from point A to point B. It's the easiest route in order to get from point A to point B. Take the cash. But of course, that cash has certain constraints associated with it. So how do you run a campaign when you don't have any cash to run the campaign? In her case, she's stuck in this hard wall that I would imagine most campaigns get stuck against. Sanders' campaign was large enough to kind of overcome that gap. Her campaign apparently is not. Jordan hit me up about this story because he said, look, I saw that your story was off on this. Take a look at this. And what he showed me was right. This seems to be legit. He hit her campaign up. They didn't respond to him. I would imagine the optics of this looks pretty bad. The Fox News story in and of itself looks bad. And again, everything that we're talking about here is optics. But again, this is politics, and optics just so happens to be a reality unto itself. Does this mean that her policy has changed based on the people who are giving her money at this particular engagement? There's no way to know, right? If I'm being honest, I don't think it's true. She's in this race clearly for this thing of an anti-war strategy. But I suspect she would make the argument that I can't even, I can't run the campaign when I don't have any cash to run a campaign. And if somebody wants to be an enlightened billionaire or millionaire and give me the maximum donation requirement, which would allow me to get from point A to point B, I clearly have to take that. I don't necessarily have a choice but to take that. Otherwise, I can't run my campaign. I can understand the difficulties associated with it. Meaning, I don't get it in a guttural level, but I do understand the difficulties associated with it from her trying to run her campaign. So, this is difficult. This video is painful to do. Clearly, it's painful to do. But it's just reality. Reality is reality. But that's it. The optics on this are brutal and don't necessarily help, at least, again, from the standpoint of the left. But that's kind of the creature to which she's found herself. I'll end it here. Thanks, all.